Having a little smoke in the woods. Yeah. So I'm thinking about the Chicagoland Pipe Show going on right now, as I'm sure. Um, I know a few people who are there at it, and it sounds like fun. But not this year for me. So not next week, but the following week is the Kids Out Pipe Club. So I'm expecting Travis to give us a good report, lots of good stories, maybe some photos on the pipe show. So, smoking a BP Jum. Probably can't really see that too well. With some really old Byzantium from Cornell and Deal. The tin note still had some kind of Balkan stuff going on, but the Latakia is long gone. But it's nice and dry in these big, shallow, wide bowls. I think like drier tobacco. Tobacco that probably has a lot of burley in it, because burley always smokes pretty well. But and this being an early Cornell and Deal, I'm sure it has a fair amount of burley in it. Byzantium. Would be a great day to be out on the boat sailing. So, nice little breeze, mostly blue skies, sunshine. Yeah, perfect. In recent events, more than ever, although I contemplate this a fair amount anyway, have made me think about, how do you spend your life? Are you an extra in your own movie? It's really your movie, you're directing it, you're the director, but you just don't know you're the director. So you're, playing a bit part. I just thought that was a funny way of looking at it. But my brother, who's a year older than me, I have two older brothers. We're all close in age. I was never really that close to my middle brother. So, and he was a consistent cigarette smoker for years. His diet may not have always been the best, but he did get a lot of exercise. He had a landscape company early on. He had a little trouble with high school and the structure there, I think. Really a smart guy, but one of those guys that just doesn't conform and play the game and get your high school diploma, go to college. So he did have to get his GED, but you should never cast somebody as a less intelligent person for that. There may be some other issues involved, probably social issues, or who knows. But real smart guy. So he had a landscaping business, was out in the Denver sun a lot, and was probably one of the tannest people I've ever met. And pretty light complected as well. So, that can't be good. I've had my own issues with skin cancer. and I'm gonna go see my dermatologist again in maybe a month or two. I'm on the wait list. So diet, uh, who knows? Uh, Genetic predisposition, environmental factors all play a part, but cancer got him, and I love those ravens. Um, so he's 1 year older than me, you know. So it makes you think. It really does. And what's important. And he was the most, I'm going to suggest, without really seeing the numbers, certainly the most acquirative of property, rental properties. He got that memo early on that picking up properties with rental properties, and he was kind of a bottom end feeder of those, so there were always a few issues, but he had the physical presence to make those happen and not be taken advantage of. So yeah, that was a good fit for him. And I don't know how many rental units he ended up with, but a whole bunch, and he certainly, compared to me, the most successful of us three brothers. So, and I think it was, now, you can't take any of that with you. So you can leave it to people, and hopefully you will have left it in a way that is not a burden, right? We shall see. But ultimately, in dollar terms, he certainly was the top dog here. So, but you can't take it with you. And for me, I thought about doing that early on. I saw him doing it, and I thought, oh, I should probably do that too. Where you buy a piece of property, then, it's heavily mortgaged, but that payment, so that the tax advantages are there, and then you leverage that into loans for other properties. He was a master at that, I think, and had good relationships with people in banking who could help him out. So good for him, honestly. He did that really well. My dad had talked about doing that, but never did, really. I'm a lot more like my dad in that regard. So he ended up with a bunch of properties, and his net worth, I'm sure, is 10, 20 times mine. But again, you can't take it with you. So hopefully, for me, it would have been just a constant nagging headache, and not very fun at all. And for what, right? I mean, playing the game of acquisition and who has the most and so forth. I think he had fun doing it the way he did and being as good at it as he was. I think he always kind of felt a little short compared to us, and with parental standards and so forth, of college and what education is and all that. So, but he really excelled at this property acquisition rentals game. And so I hope he just had a huge amount of fun doing that, because again, it's while you're alive, it's in this moment, you better be having fun with it, or there's some big payoff that makes the pain worthwhile, because you can't take it with you. So if your ultimate goal is to leave a whole bunch of stuff to your kids, okay, but I think it's important to think about what your goals are, and what's fun for you and what isn't. And I think he very successfully played that game. And that game was not a game I wanted to play. So it's good to know these things, right? So anyway, it makes you think about all this stuff. Um, what we spend our life moments doing. Should I be out sailing? Well, I need to. I like a balance, and I get a lot of fun from my work, and I always have. I mean, I was a park ranger in Colorado for a while, a seasonal ranger. I taught skiing for a season at Breckenridge. Um, and then I kind of got into uh, architectural firms. And I was never an architect. I just never felt like I would really be a very good architect. But as a support person to that process, that was fun. And so that's kind of what I've been doing since. So, um, and not necessarily architecture, but just uh, graphics, design stuff. I make maps. I'm a GIS guy. So, so I have a hand in everybody's projects. I bring clarity, hopefully. A map tells a story. So you want that map to tell a story without a lot of mansplaining. People look at a map, they know where they are. Everybody looking at that map knows where they are, knows what they're talking about, and that's the story. And so I get a lot of satisfaction out of that. So we all do things a little differently, and it's all good, you know. But I think you have to do it deliberately and with thought and with consideration, and not just because somebody else thinks, oh, that would be a great thing to do. For them, it probably would, but for you, it may not. So that's our challenge, and I think education provides us tools, reading, writing, arithmetic. We should include in our electives more debate, critical thinking, statistics, and what they all mean, so that we aren't as easily flim-flammed by bad statistics. Those would be good things to learn in school. I think what school primarily teaches is conformity and being, here are the rules of society, here's what you can do to fit in, blah, blah, blah. So my brother he was outside of some of those rules, and I applaud him for that. I mean, he was himself, and he was true to himself. So, yeah, that was great. That was great. And may we all do that, right? I mean, know ourselves truly well enough to know what is easy work for us, so that we can do that work and be nourished by it and not exhausted by it, and not golden handcuffed to a job just so you can pay a mortgage and a car payment and your monthly cable bill. What a way to live. But that's just me. Some people, maybe that works really well, but it wouldn't for me. It has not for me. So I had to go my own way. So we're all different. So I looked for some photos to scan to build that slide deck, for the memorial service. That's always I think, one of the best parts. The other great part is people getting up and talking about stories they had, experiences they had with the person. Those are really fun too. But we came up with about 40 photos, and just so much fun. They just bring back all kinds of memories. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun. I don't know who's going to put together the slideshow. Maybe my niece or my nephew. I don't know. We'll see. Whatever. It's a little bit of a delayed memorial for whatever reason down in Colorado. That's their stuff to deal with. So I'm just along for the ride on that. I'll just hear when it is, and I'll make a quick airline reservation and go down there. So, but yeah, one less person to share your life stories with. Yeah, when my dad passed, and my mom too. That was when I really missed him. Was I'd do something really fun that they would have enjoyed or appreciated. A road trip, an adventure, a day out sailing, whatever. And I couldn't share that with them. And that's when that pang of loneliness kind of hits me. So enjoy people while they're here, if you can. But you need to take that one step back. There's something crashing in the woods, and I think, what the hell is that? Bit of a breezy day, so could just have been a branch coming down or a tree kind of twisting a little bit. Yeah, you have to take that one step back to have that perspective of present moment appreciation. And we don't do that very much. We're not taught to do that. Society does not really teach us that unless you seek it out. So having that perspective of appreciation now, before somebody's gone and you miss them, is important. So, yeah. Anyway, 3 cheers to my brother. And I get, people will say, "Oh, I'm so sorry," "Oh, yeah, my condolences." Oh, yeah. Thank you, but unnecessary and partially unwanted. It's like people are inserting themselves into your grief process by saying that. And I get it why they do it. I do it too. But, yeah, it's kind of a contradictory thing. Might be more useful just to share a story of your own loss of a sibling or a parent or whatever, a favorite uncle. And just kind of say, yeah, I felt this way about that. Share that sense of loss from their point of view, I think is maybe more useful and more meaningful, honestly. But it is what it is. We're uncomfortable with people passing, so yeah. Yeah. But it is. I mean, it's just part of this whole thing. We're all little threads in this big tapestry. So, yeah. And it's kind of like a tapestry, you know, those big tapestries you'd see in castles in Europe where they're 100 feet long, you know. And we're just a thread over here. And now it's being continually added to over here, and it's moving it along. So, yeah. Yeah. Pipe smoking gives you some rumination room. And without being I mean, who knows, maybe it'll kill me, this pipe smoking. I don't know. I find it useful, enjoyable, and worth doing. So, yeah. If I was addicted to nicotine, though, I would drop it. Or I would somehow do it differently that didn't. If nicotine was the agent of destruction, I think I'd somehow do that differently, but I don't know how. I don't know. Anyway, it's worth it to me to smoke a pipe. It just allows you to ruminate